Is it really that gay if you love a man as much as you love your job? Howdy hole, and welcome back to Hole Chat, a podcast that says hell yes to old man yaoi and hell no to major spoilers. I'm your host, as per usual, Chuck, and with me is someone I'd like to make my full-time job, Keelz.
Yes, it's gay. That's the answer. If you love a man as much as you love your job or whatever, that damn thing you just said, duh. I'm offended. What a question. God.
What do you mean?
It's not gay if the balls touch. It's gay. Gosh.
Well, some people have like a job at Target and they don't love it that much. And so if you love a man as much as you love your job at Target, that's different. But if you're passionate about your job.
No.
Okay. Well, today we're going to be talking a lot about jobs, surprisingly enough, and how they might be important to someone, and also how it's pretty gay about it, and maybe also old men. There's a lot.
So it's about work. It's about being an older man.
Yeah.
And being gay about the job?
Yes, maybe.
Are you sure you're reviewing the right one? Because I don't want to hear about a story where a job makes love to another job. That sounds like it's going to breed something wrong.
What? Oh, God, like a corporate merger? No, we're not doing corporate mergers. It's just...
Yeah.
You know, maybe your job is also taking care of somebody at your job kind of thing.
No, you put that man on the street. That's called a scrub.
No. Oh. You good?
I'm on a muscle relaxer because, injury, but I'm great. I think I'm correct. If you have to take care of a piddly-ass man who ain't doing his own shit, that's a scrub.
What if
Beyonce said, I don't want no scrubs, and we stand by Beyonce.
No. That was TLC.
That was TLC.
Girl.
I was thinking of Destiny's Child.
I understand.
I can't believe I got...
Well, you're thinking about Bills.
Who?
Can you pay my bills?
That's it.
Yeah. So, both iconic, but different situations.
Whoa. We're going to be in for a ride this episode. I'm on a muscle relaxer. Who knows what I'm going to say?
Oh. You say whatever you want every time anyways. It's not really that different.
That's true. I don't really censor myself at all. I have a nickname called 0 to 60. People call me 0 to 60 because it'll be chill for 1 second and then I suddenly am like, let's make this jump. Let's go up there.
Yeah, the amount of times you start talking about somebody's asshole in the middle of polite conversation is not 0.
It is not.
Thanks.
It is not 0.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You have ADHD.
I do.
It's completely tuned to be almost as offensive as possible sometimes.
Which sucks, because, I'm just curious. I just have questions.
Yeah.
And I feel like I want to know those questions right then when they pop in my head.
No, it's part of your charm. I promise.
I can't wait till I'm old and I can get away with, shit.
Well, speaking of old, we're doing a triple feature today. A lot of the titles that we've been covering are quite long, and I'm really thankful for, the long-running queer shit, but my bread and butter has always been single-volume stories, and I'm especially partial to, a short manga, 1-volume kind of situation. You got me. I love burning one of those out.
So you like a one-shot?
Not a one-shot. I like a single volume.
You like a one-shot back shot.
What? This is setting the tone for everything. This is where we're going to be at. Girl.
No, I get you. I think back when we were kids in the 90s, it was more, when you found a yaoi, it was a 1-volume thing.
Yeah, because we were dealing with manga almost exclusively, and so, yeah, it usually was, anywhere from 80 to 120, 140 pages kind of that you're reading. So.
Yeah, one volume, 4 chapters, all that jazz.
Yeah, or you'd get really lucky, it'd be 7 chapters and an extra kind of thing. Yeah, for sure. But with enjoying those, they are harder to go in depth on because they're just little guys. So in this case, I am doing 3 different stories that are all one volume.
And they're all related to the corporation?
There's job stuff that's important in each one. But more importantly, the real through line here is I picked 3 different completed English translated works from Michiru Sonoo, spanning from the beginning of her career to about 2020. She's still actively making comics as well, but the most recent translated completed thing is from 2020. Everything else is either in the middle being translated or they just didn't do it, which I think is a total shame because she's got like 25 works out.
Oh, wow.
Not including Dojinji that she has on her Pixiv. So, like, there's so much to go through.
What are you going to list her Pixiv name later?
You can find her Pixiv. I thought that was she doesn't do any of her original work on her Pixiv. It's all fan art. She should be pretty easy to find. I will drop the manga updates link so that you can go visit her Pixiv yourself, but mostly gonna just link to other places where with her professional work.
Oh, okay.
But she does love Tiger and Bunny.
Cute.
So
I was gonna ask what fan art she did.
Yeah, she loves Tiger and Bunny. It's very cute. But if there's one noticeable thing about Michiru Sensei's work, it's that she loves grown men. If they're 25 plus, she wants to feature them. Young men only seem to make an appearance to fuck these grown men and nothing else.
Is 25 really a man?
Compared to
me a 32.
Compared to a lot of manga, yes, because usually manga is like 16 to 21, like they're barely in college. She likes to start after college, fully in a career, more often than not, though, honestly, like in their 30s and older. And the one story she has that does feature a college student that I've had access to, he is fucking a retiree.
Man.
So he's like 21 and he's down bad for a 50-year-old man.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm a little distracted by you mentioning that a lot of yaoi has like the younger man.
Specifically manga. Like in Korean works it skews more to like college students and older, but for Japanese work it's usually you get a lot of school stories.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's funny, I just never noticed that. But like now that you said it, it's like, yeah, that's obvious. But it's interesting to think how that works.
Yeah, for sure. So today specifically we're going to be covering a manga called Koh-Boku, another one called Having Sex with a High Grade Man, and then the other one is I'm Doomed If It's Not You.
I'm Doomed If It's Not You?
Yes, yeah.
I almost like that title. Like it's almost like a good title, but for some reason doomed is not the word I want there.
You'll get what I mean. They name drop the title in the comic itself. That one's also the wildest one I think in terms of plot. So
I'm just being like petty about prose because my brain is like, don't do doomed. Use I don't know. I languish away without you. Do something like that. My brain is literally like, no. Let's turn it up. Where's the SAT words?
So first up, we're going to be discussing Michiru-san's inaugural work, Koh-Boku. It was written in 2014 and is the first time she ever got serialized professionally. Before that, I'm sure she was just drawing Tiger and Bunny to her heart's content.
Like dojins and stuff?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is dojin something that counts as a serialization or is that different?
Not legally because you're normally self-printing.
Yeah, okay.
Unless a company contacts you to do it, then it's not fully serialized. And then if a company contacts you to do it, then you're being contracted to make an official work for them, and then it's not a doujin anymore. But yeah, they are completely self-published, which makes how much doujin is available truly amazing.
That is amazing. Because doujin is like, yeah, that's a thing. Wow.
Yeah.
We're like, this is gonna be a long episode because like I feel like my brain is being opened up to new paths. I need to like, I don't know, take a muscle relaxer every episode.
Just lay back and relax. So, Koh-Boku is a story about 2 civil servants both working at the Ministry of Economy, Trade, and Industry that I will be calling METI for the rest of the time because I'm not saying all 4 of those words together again. But it's about them working here and their unconventional relationship at work. It features Imamiya Q, the section chief of the Economic and Industrial Policy Bureau, and Kashiwagi Tasuku, his subordinate and his mentee.
Kashiwagi. I like that name a lot.
Yeah, I think it's charming.
It's so cute.
It's very cute. So, Imamiya who is often called by his nickname Q, like the letter Q, because his name reads as Q, and then, you know, but he also has kind of he has a personality that better lines up with the character name Q from James Bond and the character name Q from Star Trek The Next Generation.
So I'm thinking of, like, older handsome man in a suit.
Yes, and a little bit goofy and kind of trickstery. He has a little bit of a tricky vibe. I think he's more of a brat, but it is what it is. So Imamiya is a capable and deceptively easygoing leader. He doesn't micromanage by way of doing as many things by himself as possible. So if everyone else is swamped, he's even more swamped, and he's not going to bother you about it. He's got an excellent and varied educational background, having graduated in the States, and is fluent in 5 languages, including Japanese. He's a powerhouse of talent, skill, and charm, but is for some reason slaving away for the good of his country as a civil servant.
I just don't like this man. He's got 5 languages. I'm so fucking jealous.
Oh, so you hate him because he has what you have. Has what you don't have.
Yeah, I hate him because he's doing what I want to do, which is master languages.
Well, I mean, he's also... We'll get into it. It's fine.
I can't do it. You hear my fucking accent? Konnichiwa? Washino desu? I don't know.
Oh, man. Okay.
I can't do languages.
But Imamiya is older. We don't know for sure how old he is, but he is likely close to his 50s, as he's old enough to have a full-grown son and is tenured enough at his job to have better opportunities than where he's at. So he's gotten offers, but he refuses to.
Is he divorced or a widow?
He is divorced. They mention his wife, like, one time.
Okay, like, it's not important. I was just curious because, like, okay, like, again, I also do like old man yaoi, and I'm just thinking of a nice older man in a suit, and my brain is immediately like, ooh, is he a divorcee or a widower? Because, like, a widower is tastier than a divorcee.
No, he's just divorced, but it seems like he got divorced a long time ago. But here is...
Is he the shorter one?
Yeah, he's the shorter guy.
Yeah, he's cute.
Yeah, he's just like a cute older guy. Pretty handsome. Yeah. The whole 9 yards.
Main character energy when he was younger, probably.
Yeah, definitely had that energy before when he was younger. Especially, like, you know, being from America and all that sort of stuff. But he's a cute dude.
Not to be mean.
Mm-hmm.
It's not quite yaoi hands. She's got, like, a lot of long liminess.
Yes, this is her first big girl work, too.
Right, okay, so this is her first work. Right.
Yeah, this is when she's still kind of hashing things out with her style.
Again, beautiful style right off the bat, but my eyes were drawn to, ooh, shrink those limbs a little bit. Mm-hmm. Just a little long.
So, outside of Imamiya, we, of course, have Kashiwagi, our cutie. He is also incredibly capable, but is significantly less easygoing. He seems to only have one mode, and it's being serious as a heart attack with a furrowed brow. There's even a comment made that when he first started working for this bureau, he had, like, a little baby furrow. And then as he's been working there longer and longer, it's gotten deeper and deeper. Like, he looks like he's got a wrinkled forehead because he never seems to unfurrow his brow. Mm-hmm. That's just him 100% of the time.
Now, is he a little younger?
He's quite a bit younger.
Okay, because, like, I wasn't going to, like, jump into conclusions, but I saw him, too, in the cover. He looked younger.
He is younger. They met when he first got out of college, so the age gap is anywhere from, like, 10 to 20 years, depending on ages. She's not clear, but you get from, like, some of the things that happen to you, they've got to be have a decent gap going on.
Old man yaoi for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Outside of being very good at his job, he is solely dedicated to a self-imposed job, which is taking care of Imamiya. He somehow manages to balance being worked to death and taking care of his mentor, and still has time to cook and keep things neat at his home and in the office.
Whose home? His home?
His own home. His own home. Okay. Yeah.
I'm just seeing how far it goes to taking care of this dude.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure if he could live in Imamiya's house, he would have been doing that the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I've read a surprising amount of, like, comics where the secretary or the dude who's helping the boss character actually does, like, practically with them, lives with them, makes their food, does all that stuff, and I'm just like, it's a common trope I see, and it makes me go, is this a thing?
He would love to be this. That would be a privilege for him.
Oof.
So he's in his late 20s or early 30s, since he's at the perfect marrying age, but he's completely uninterested in settling down and would rather work with Imamiya forever than marry a woman, which is something he straight up says himself in the comic.
Boy, you,
He's got it down bad.
You probably gay. Boy, you starting with old men, though.
You know, it is what it is.
It's because he's brave.
He is powered primarily by intense worry, because his mentor is pretty sloppy with his own health.
Oy.
Yeah. So the whole beginning of this loosely connected comic is used to show how doting Kashiwagi is when it concerns Imamiya. So this comic very much just kind of like snapshots of various parts of their life kind of going through about a year's worth of time. But the timeline's very loose. It just seems like Michiru Sensei was just riffing and getting somewhere eventually.
Yeah. Hey, that's fine. Like, sometimes stories that, like, kind of have those soft, dreamy vibes and going through the motion are really nice. So, good for her.
No, you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what this is.
That's nice.
But the comic specifically opens on Kashiwagi calling a restaurant in another city at like 8 p.m. to request a box meal be delivered to a hotel in that same city, which is 500 miles away.
Good
so
God.
He is in Tokyo, and I forgot which city it was that Imamiya is in, but it's 500 miles away. That you can almost cross the state of Texas in that way.
Wow.
It is a long fucking like distance, and that's who he's calling, you know, some random fucking box like lunchbox store in this city 500 miles away.
Yeah.
But this is,
I mean, that's work, so good for him. Crazy, but good for him.
Yeah, but this is one, pre-delivery apps because it's 2014.
Oh shit, yep.
And two, not at all like ordering a pizza for someone, because ordering a pizza even long distance is fairly straightforward, you know, even at that time. And then three, everywhere was already actually closed by the time that he gave the call. So Kashiwagi pulled this minor miracle, made a special request to include the city's local delicacy, which is blowfish, into this box lunch. And
is that the poisonous fish?
Yeah, but it's like you have to be trained specifically in Japan to handle blowfish, and then you can. And so like very specific chefs will like serve it or whatever, but you can get it and eat it safely.
Yeah.
But this is like a very mild version of the sort of things that Anne Hathaway's character in The Devil Wears Prada was like asked to do.
Oh my god,
but,
yeah.
Yeah, but Kashiwagi is doing this of his own accord and specifically for Imamiya. So he's going
because
to the ends of the earth. To? Yeah, just because he wants to.
You gay.
Yeah. He follows up his lunchbox order with a direct call to Imamiya, informing him of the meal's delivery time and then instructing him to eat it, freshen up, and then go to bed. And this is the first hint that he has extreme wifely prowess. This is a grown man who basically was born to be a wife.
Yeah, Imamiya, don't lose this one, because holy shit.
Right, and then Imamiya is like a brat about it, saying like, oh, that seems like a hassle to stay up and whatever, that's too hard. But then he immediately folds and does exactly what he's told to anyway.
Of course, he's just whining.
Yeah.
It's like what I would do.
Oh, you're not wrong. And the job that they have is kind of insane in that they're working potentially any hour of the day. We're talking like an 11 p.m. meeting followed by a 2 a.m. meeting kind of work. But since they're dealing with bureaucrats, both homegrown and international, there's really nothing to be done about it. And it is ultimately for the good of Japanese citizens. And so this is very important to both Kashiwagi and Imamiya to be working at this, you know, in the public sector, specifically so they can help Japanese citizens. They're very passionate. It's a big goal of theirs.
Yeah. I like this slice of life stuff where, like, you're learning about something. Like, it doesn't have to go as deep as culture. Like, I was reading this one manga where, like, you learn about green tea and essentially how green tea is made. And I'm just like, I like stuff like that, where it's a comic that it's like, yeah, we've got this romance, but also here's something you can learn.
Yeah.
So, like, this is very interesting to me. Like, I learned plus one hole for my interests.
I learned tidbits about Japanese lawmaking, which is really strange, and it's a lot, and my head hurt a little bit, but, you know, yaoi in between. There's another scene of Kashiwagi and Imamiya working together, like, rather seamlessly before Kashiwagi, a consummate wife, urges Imamiya to eat. And they have this whole, like, well, he's, like, telling him, like, you're not hungry, but you can definitely eat soup, right? And so he offers his homemade soup to Imamiya, And Imamiya agrees and comments on how trendy it is that, he's making homemade soup. This isn't the first time he's made homemade soup for Imamiya. It will not be the last time either.
Yeah.
It is what he does
that
more
feels
often than not.
definitely very flirty, since, like, isn't there a popular flirty phrase, which is, like, I want to eat your miso soup forever?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's, like, how you can subtly propose to somebody. Yeah.
Right, so this feels very flirty.
You're right, yeah. Before going to retrieve his lunch, Kashiwagi doles out instructions to another worker, the bulk of which basically amounts to supporting Imamiya in the very short absence of going to, gather lunch. And when he's asked about his departure, he answers with unnecessary sternness, I'm going to heat up my soup.
What a simp.
Yeah. And so, everyone in the office hears this, by the way. They don't have cubicles at all. There's basically no privacy. And Kashiwagi acts like this all the time.
They would be called the couple of the office in America.
Yeah. He says this shit with his whole chest, zero shame. And it doesn't help that, the way that he dotes makes him more attractive to a lot of the women in this comic, because they're like, wow, we love a man who's serious about making his own lunch. We love a man who's, very serious about taking care of himself and, dresses really well. But it's, all his intentions are definitely just for Imamiya and Imamiya alone. So multiple women get disappointed, or they're told, hey, don't get your hopes up. Whatever's going on, it's not good.
Yeah.
So Kashiwagi comes back in with his soup, heats it up, but they end up finally eating his homemade soup lunch. And I want to note that Kashiwagi brought the proper travel cutlery and dishware for 2 people from his home. He has 2 bowls, 2 sets of cutlery, 2 whatever that he brought from his home for this. He has a couple set specifically to feed his mentor.
Yeah, they're already dating, and what is it? Imamiya doesn't know.
Yeah. Well, let's see.
What's their name? What's their couple name? Imawagi. I'm thinking of ship names. I mean, it's already got me. This is so silly.
And then, Imamiya tries to compliment him, and Kashiwagi does the very polite Japanese thing of trying to fend it off, oh, no, it's nothing, and it doesn't mean anything. But it also very much feels like what a Japanese wife would say to her husband, oh, of course, and don't worry about it, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm listening to the story of a housewife right now.
Yeah. And then worse, Imamiya is honestly a toddler at times. And so he doesn't want to finish his food, and Kashiwagi gives him this whole, oh, well, you've only got 2 bites left, so please eat them. You can definitely eat that in 1 gulp. Just do it for me, kind of thing. And then while they're, eating lunch, whatever, they also make plans to meet up outside of work, really casually. They invite no one else from the office. It's just these 2 motherfuckers. Let's go get sushi. Let's go to a horse race. Let's do this.
They must hate working with them. Because, working with all of those love shit flying around. Ugh.
But they're also, incredible. They're incredible when they work together. So no one really gets on their case about it, because they're well, we get a lot of shit done.
Yeah. No,
y'all are just really weird.
We know people like this. Fuck, we were these people at work.
Yeah.
But, god damn, all that love in the air. Yikes.
Yeah. But when they're together, it's no one exists outside of them when they're working together. So this is what I meant by bond. Weirdly enough, the work part is part of the relationship for them too. Mm-hmm. We also get a scene where a problem has arisen with some sort of policy work and must be rectified ASAP. Meaning that Imamiya, despite having already worked for God knows how long, must attend to it. Kashiwagi fixes him up, he helps him put on his coat, he's tying his tie, and overall making him look more presentable. He follows after a now pumped up Imamiya. He's doing that whole gambate, I can do it, I'm gonna go take care of whatever the problem is. And so Kashiwagi follows him as he heads to the door, which is entirely unnecessary for a grown man, what's gonna happen to him.
Yeah.
But his clinginess pays off when Imamiya collapses and is swiftly scooped into Kashiwagi's arms.
Oh, so he's really not taking care of himself.
It's partially the job, partially being 50 years old, and working that hard.
You've got to eat. Your dad is very, very healthy. He rides 20 miles
every
every day on his bike.
Yeah, so 15 to 20 miles every day. Yeah.
But that man also will just be I'm not going to eat anything with anything that actually has the better caloric intake. I'm gonna have a salad and a piece of cornbread. And it's like, no, father-in-law. You just biked for 50 fucking miles. Have some chicken. Maybe have a boiled egg. Fucking protein up, my man.
Legitimately, yeah, he won't eat right. And what I've told...
It's an older man thing.
And
like
what
your dad,
yeah.
My dad is starting to do it.
And what I've told the wives of these men consistently, dose him. Just put some fucking protein powder in something. Mm-hmm. They'll never fucking know. Make it whatever flavor it needs to be. Pea protein, if you mix it in with vegetables, they'll never fucking know. It tastes like peas. It'll be totally fine. And so, in true good wife fashion, Kashiwagi doses him all the time.
Yeah.
He'll give him electrolyte powders when he doesn't ask for it. He's trying to hide it whenever he can because he wants this man to live.
It's crazy because, like, we're not saying, like, force someone to gain weight, but, like, literally, something about older folks, specifically men, it seems like they decide, I'm just not going to eat enough. And it's like, dude, your body needs more than that to function. So we're saying for those people in your life, dose them with protein.
Just dose them. Just like, they're going to be fine. They're going to be fine. It's going to make them better.
God.
But Kashiwagi moves Imamiya to a couch in the office and then, like, lectures him rather desperately. Essentially,
while he's unconscious?
Well, he collapsed, but he didn't pass out.
Okay.
He's still awake and aware.
You know what has protein that will help him?
Girl.
Hey.
You're not wrong.
Give him your dick.
Wait.
Feed him the protein.
Wait. But Kashiwagi is essentially lecturing him and begging him to take better care of himself. They have a soft moment where it's very clear that they're both dancing around Kashiwagi's feelings of devotion, but otherwise, like, nothing fully gets settled at that point. By the end of the first chapter, we've just gone through another day of grueling schedule that leaves the older Imamiya looking more haggard than normal. Kashiwagi welcomes him back to the office almost as though he's welcoming home his husband.
Uh-huh, like that's new.
Yeah.
That's been the whole comic.
He fetches some sandwiches, something easy to eat and digest, and then takes Imamiya outside where he can enjoy some sunlight and relax. They sit on a bench together, near enough that Imamiya can lean his weary body against Kashiwagi's.
Yes, and then Kashiwagi takes off his jacket, has Imamiya put his face in his lap, and then tells him to suck down the protein stick.
Almost. They're outside, so they're not gonna fuck outside.
It's just a blowjob. Put the jacket over.
No,
him.
This couple has shame. Another couple that we'll talk about later does not have shame.
Oh my.
After their meal, Imamiya exclaims that he's been revived with the face of someone who definitely needs to lay the fuck down.
God, dude. But yeah, workaholics, man.
Yep. So Kashiwagi suggests a nap, which his boss easily agrees to, then unfurls a blanket that he brought and offers his lap as a pillow.
This is a wife.
Yes, because he had the blanket the whole time. I noticed it and was like, oh, is that like a blanket to put on the ground to have a picnic? But why? They only have so much time. It's a blanket to cover his boss.
It's a blanket to cuddle in.
Yeah, so yeah, he lays down on his lap and, like, takes a fucking nap there. And then from a distance, you can see two of their colleagues look on, taking in the scene of the section chief comfortably napping on an obviously pleased Kashiwagi. Their relationship is odd, famous, and probably too much, because everyone knows.
Everyone would talk about this.
And they don't call them, like, a couple straight up, but they definitely are aware that something's going on. More often than not at the beginning, especially, they call Kashiwagi, like, his guard dog. Because if anybody tries to bother him too much or isn't, like, giving him time, he's the one that's being like, bark, 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 bark. Leave him alone. He needs time. Or, like, if you need something from him, you go through me first, and then I'll tell him.
I used to work with two people who, like, called each other every day in the morning to make sure that they had done what they needed to do.
Yeah.
Like, these were two, like, basketball bros. They were in basketball together in high school. And they just, like, they always called each other to make sure, hey, did you do your drink, bro? Did you have your Monster? Did you do this? And I just, like, I was like, this is real gay. This is a real Barbara Kruger moment.
Yeah, well, you are not wrong. God. Yeah, these little scenes serve as a thorough sampling of just how reliant these two are on each other. They both are incredibly aware of how much time they spend together, but absolutely refuse to do anything about it. And they continue to refuse to do anything about it for a decent chunk of the comic. They wander into gay territory, find a map, then proceed to ignore it, and decide to trust their gut and good sense of direction. They have every opportunity to come out of this. They had an opportunity years ago. They just refuse to leave. They just keep going further.
Now I feel bad for judging men for showing affection. Men should be allowed to show affection. It's not gay. I'm just a fajoshi.
Koh-Boku overall is a sweet, meandering story, following the daily lives of Kashiwagi and Imamiya as they come to terms with the inevitable. By the time the story begins, they are several years into working like a married couple and have no intention of stopping. Outsiders are more than aware that things are a bit too far for a mentor and his protege and regularly comment on it, but it's not until a health scare takes Imamiya out of commission that they finally let themselves sink into the ocean of their feelings. And what I appreciate about this manga is a focus on living like an ordinary life, with love kind of creeping in at the edges. Because I love we've been together a long time, and then whoops, actually, we really care about each other. I don't want to live without you. And then like that kind of comfort becomes a kind of devotion.
So you like being told our love story over and over again?
Don't at me.
I'm gonna at you. We've known each other since we were 10 years old, and we have been in each other's pockets way too much. We were also neighbors, so we were always over at each other's houses.
I'm absolutely gonna cut this.
We were just everywhere, and it was so much. People wanted us to date forever, and when we finally fucking did, we got married real quick because it was obvious.
I need to stop being attacked in my own podcast, please. Thank you. This isn't a whirlwind love story that's all-consuming, and yet it takes up every part of their lives. They're lonely when they can't work together, but their lives are 90% work, so they never have to worry about it that much. Their love is dispersed, and a bit of it fills every little thing that they do, but it never feels overwhelming, just natural and inevitable.
Yeah. I'm giving this first work 10 out of 10 whole. It's truly comfortable. It's really nice and cozy. It's relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
I get to learn something while I'm hearing about it.
Mm-hmm.
This is my type of story where it's like low cost risk a little bit. Like, cause like, man, life is so full of so much hardships. I don't always want to read about like a crazy hardship, you know?
Yeah, this one's very much just chill the whole time.
It's very chill. It's very natural. Yeah. So like, it's sweet. It's very interesting to me. I give this 10 out of 10 whole. I like it.
I also appreciate the realness of being romantically entangled with an older and fairly sickly man, because they still get to fucking, but there's a pulse oximeter involved. It's a little thing you put on your finger at the doctor's office.
Yeah. Wow, guys.
Yeah, like Kashiwagi like checks his pulse before they get to fucking. Like, it's got to be between this range and this range before I'll dick you down.
Is because he'll die otherwise?
He has some health problems that come up. They're like the major, I think.
That's the major.
The major like conflict in the story is him having health issues and how it impacts his work. But he's not gonna die. It's just they need to be careful, and he's fully committed to it, and I love that.
It's not the first time I've heard about it in a comic where someone was like, "Oh, you have a condition. We need to be careful."
Yeah.
But like, I'm always surprised when I see it. Because, like, it's good to see it. It's good to see medical shit in any media so that, you know, we're not, like, all a bunch of ableists. We need to know how everyone's living.
Yeah.
But I'm always like, oh, this is interesting. And then I always think about it, like...
But especially for old man yaoi, you might gotta check something. Somebody might need to take their pills before they get into whatever.
Like, gosh... It was a comic where it was like they were checking what the person would eat because they needed to cut back on like red meat and stuff. Mm-hmm. That person was always like, "I want red meat." Mm-hmm. It was very funny, very good, but I can't remember.
It'll come to you. But there's a lot of little humorous moments in here that I just have to mention, like, because I can't go too deep without spoiling everything. But Imamiya at one point gets some temporary secretaries, and they end up being unable to serve him properly. Partially because he wants to do all the stuff on his own, because that's what he's used to. But then they get completely upstaged by Kashiwagi. Because he just keeps coming to the office and be like, well, I'll do this for him. Or you need to do it this way. And make sure to give him this. And like a doting wife. Imamiya does have a son. It's not his biological son. It's his older brother's kid. And Kashiwagi and Imamiya's son... they have this weird kind of back and forth relationship where they know that they're important. They're both important to Imamiya, but they both kind of hate each other for it, kind of thing.
Are they close in age?
The son's in like about to be fresh out of college. They're not super close.
I was like, because that would.
Oh yeah. So it's not that. Yeah. And Kashiwagi respects like the son as being the son, but he's also like, I don't know. I don't like his attitude sometimes. And like his son's very cute because he always calls his dad daddy, and it's like, you're 21, 22 years old, and you still call your dad daddy. That is precious.
Is it Chi-Chi?
I think in this case, what is it? It's Chi-Chi if you're describing your dad to somebody. Well, I don't know. I haven't seen the Rise. He might be calling him Chi-Chi, which is like overly cutesy, like a little kid would say. But he's probably saying like Otolo-chan. But I haven't seen the Rise. If I go back and check the Rise, I'll let you know for sure.
I was just curious. I was like, I wanted to know how Baby Taki was doing it.
That they translated it to daddy. It's probably very cutesy. But yeah, the continuous comments from the Peanut Gallery on their too intense relationship is also something I have a lot of joy from because it's every chapter.
Yeah, because that's like that Greek thing, like where the muses are commenting on stuff.
Yeah.
I like that.
Oh, and then, oh god, Kashiwagi, if ever they're like separated from each other, he sends encyclopedic text and emails. Like, wall of
just
text.
To people around him?
To Imamiya. To, like, remind him, like, to check on certain things and make sure to do whatever. And it's all one-handed. He texts one-handed.
I hate him. I hate and love him. This is too much.
Yeah. For this comic, the style is, like, really sketchy and loose.
Yeah.
Despite that, even the small details are important for establishing the overall feel of it. Because it's pretty dense. The details are pretty dense considering how sketchy everything is. But yeah, like for everything going on, it's still
I really like their expressions that she does around the eyes and the brow. Yes. You can tell honestly what her favorite part of drawing is.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's that expression, the eyes, the brow.
But yeah, like even as sketchy as everything is, she makes sure to add in Imamiya's surgery scar when they get to fucking, and that's so important. I'm so thankful for that.
Did he have, like, a gallbladder issue or something?
He had an issue that recurs a couple times, but it involves surgery, and so you can see the surgery scar, and I'm like, hell yeah. Fuck that old man up. Okay, for our second title, we have Sex with a High-Grade Man, which is a 2016 entry into Michiru Sensei's bibliography. So where Koh-Boku had a loose slice-of-life plot with a forward momentum, this manga is really just a collection of snapshots into the lives of our couple that eventually crescendos to a fresh beginning rather than an end for them. So let me show you the cover. This is like her first kind of foray into doing a little bit more color.
I feel like her style got a little worse here.
I don't think it looks as good with color, but I still like how it kind of tightened itself up in general.
I don't know. Her hands seem worse.
Interesting.
Like that first cover you showed me, the hands were way too small.
Okay.
And like again, very talented artist. Just sometimes like, when I'm looking at stuff, like I get into critique mode. Looking at it now, there's nothing really wrong with the art, but I'm very much like, oh, you're in your stage where you're playing with perspective really hard, and things are, because you're showing me some pages too. This is some pretty big, you just showed me a few pages. I'm like, yeah, you're playing with perspective, you're playing with color. She's playing with so much that for me it's gotten a little uglier. There's nothing wrong with this stage of your art. Having an ugly duckling stage in your art is so normal. Yeah,
because this is 2 years from her last comic.
But it's just like, it's a little uglier, and I definitely will like to see what it looks like when you show me her latest stuff. But like, at this point, I'm like, I don't like it. From a critique point, it's also like very impressive because it's like you can see she's trying a bunch of new things. But for me as a viewer, it's a little unpleasant because it's a lot of too many new things, and like, I don't know. I think if I wasn't an artist, maybe I would be chill. But I'm also an artist, so I'm like, I'm getting overwhelmed with, oh boy, you're really playing with your line art here. You're playing with your perspective and your colors and your space and like the dynamicness of the pose. It's a lot to be playing with all at once constantly.
Well, you're also only getting a handful of snapshots.
I am only getting a handful
you're
of snapshots.
You're not reading it. Because I'm just showing you major things that are,
but
give
just,
you an
just
example.
from the handful of snapshots, it's like, oof. Again, not hideous. It's just in its ugly duckling stage. It will be beautiful again.
So in this one we have Suzuki Kifumi, who's affectionately referred to as Kiki by his lover. Because his
all right.
His surname ends in Ki and his given name begins in Ki, so he gets called Kiki.
Cute, but also you.
Uh-huh. He's a tax auditor for the government and he loves his job. Like, he'd be absolutely heartbroken if he couldn't do it. He gets a legitimate thrill.
What a job to love.
He gets a legitimate thrill when he's able to drain money from the pockets of tax-dodging rich folks. And he takes great pleasure whenever he's able to personally deliver this news.
Okay, as long as he's doing it to rich folks, because I was judging him pretty hard.
No, that's his bread and butter, is going to rich people who are dodging taxes and making them pay what the government is owed.
All right.
So, despite his shrewd tendencies, he's well-liked and tends towards embarrassment when he is honestly praised. His life has mostly been taxes and shafting rich people until he meets his match, literally and figuratively. So, Nakahara Shuichi is the aforementioned high-grade man in the title. He is a third-generation businessman from a well-respected and successful family line. He's been placed in charge of a subsidiary of his family's main company and will likely be the CEO of something for the rest of his life.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to being rich and successful, he's attractive, charming, an excellent cook, and is well-cultured.
But he forgot to pay his taxes.
He seemingly has no flaws and is exactly what people imagine a rich man from a romance story to be like. He's also lecherous and a little naive, so he's basically perfect.
But he forgot to pay his taxes.
Forgot is doing a lot of heavy lifting. That's very nice.
I am heavily emphasizing forgot. I am finger quoting forgot. I am fingering those quotes, man.
So specifically, Suzuki first met Nakahara when he was tasked with performing a tax audit on Nakahara's company. Technically, he'd already been keeping tabs on him for a while as he did his research into the very real tax evasion that Nakahara's company was committing. But the day he comes by, he's all smiles as he explains exactly how he detected the situation and just how much the company owes the government.
God.
Yeah, which is a lot. It was like everything that they currently had in the company.
It's fucking really funny, honestly, but like...
Yeah.
Wow, this is... Hey, I'm ruining your business. Let's date.
Yeah. Suzuki has zero remorse and ignored Nakahara's devastation completely. Instead, he put on his most charming smirk and told him he'd see him again in 3 years. So, hey, I fucked up your company for the foreseeable futures. I'll come back around in 3 years when it's time for this audit again, and we'll see how you do.
Jeez. I hope he does better than 3 years later.
Well, in the future, somehow, Nakahara describes this entire situation as charming and not at all like a detriment to Suzuki's attractiveness. And specifically, like Nakahara says, like he says that of Suzuki, that Suzuki came in looking hot as hell to his office and then took him for everything and then planned to do it again. And so obviously Nakahara was head over heels.
Someone's got a humiliation kink.
Oh, it feels like it. But yeah, so we spend most of the comic in the thick of their relationship. And honestly, a good chunk of that time is like mid-fucking. They fuck every chapter. Like, the comic itself doesn't even actually open on the plot. It opens actually with Nakahara offering to take, like, they're already dating, and so he offers to take Suzuki out to see shooting stars, like, in a rural area or whatever, like, or near the beach or something, but he takes him out somewhere. He's like, we should go see shooting stars, and he's got all this stuff prepared for him. It's like, I'm gonna make you a cocktail, I'm gonna cook for you, and we're gonna do all this stuff out here. And while they're out there, he's like, oh, we gotta get really close to each other so we don't get too cold, and so we can see the stars. And Suzuki's like, did you bring me here to have sex with me? Oh, yes, obviously. But also, we can see shooting stars. And Suzuki's like, yeah, all right, you're right.
All right,
I'm fine with this.
Pause.
Yeah.
I got a little lost, but they started dating 3 years after the first audit?
No, they started dating really soon after the first audit.
So, like, okay, so it happened soon after the first audit because he's kinky and liked being audited.
Not that he's kinky and liked being audited, but Suzuki was just so captivating to him that he's like, I gotta see him again.
I think I said the same thing you just said.
I mean, you know, maybe that's most rich people's kink, is just being drained of all their money. We'll never know for sure. But yeah, so this one jumps around a lot more than your average comic. We don't really get to...
It's not really linear. It's like...
It gets linear in like the last couple of chapters. We actually have like a linear situation going on. But before that, we're legit just bouncing around and like seeing different aspects of their life and their relationship.
Okay.
But they are pretty well smitten with each other. And while they'll play at insulting each other, like Suzuki gets called vicious and a hyena by his lover and by other people. And Nakahara gets like referred to as being a degenerate, which I kind of, but like, you know, in a fun, cute way. But even outside of that, they are very much into pleasing one another. They show care a bit differently, with Nakahara being considerably more straightforward and traditional with affection. So the kissing, the hugging, cooking for Suzuki, taking him out to like new and exciting places, the meteor shower, like I said, he takes him to nice restaurants. He's really trying to spoil him in the way that you would expect a rich, high-powered man to spoil you. He's also, as stated, incredibly horny and struggles to keep his hands off Suzuki. So at one point, Suzuki gets invited to his office just to like return something, like, oh, I left something at your place, I think, and could you come bring it for me?
And he's like, office sex.
Exactly that.
Like, look, I had the Nakahara guy pegged the moment you were like, yeah, he got all his money drained from his company, and his first thought was like, I'm gonna suck that dude's dick. Like, I had him pegged the moment you were talking about him. Who's the older one?
In this case, they're both in their 30s.
Okay, so they're both
in this case, they're both just older. They're both really well established in their line of work, and generally have their shit together. They have places to, like, they either own or like rent nice apartments and stuff like that. These are full on grown men, and the people around them are all also grown people as well.
I thought so. I was
so we're not doing full on old man yaoi in this one, but it's very much not young people, not children, not teens, whatever. It's, you know, solidly grown professional men. So Suzuki, on the other hand, with his affection, he's a bit more reserved and shy in his displays. He will almost immediately fold to whatever Nakahara wants to do, usually giving weak fake protests at best, which is passive but no less legitimate form of affection. So if he asks for something, he's like, oh yeah, I guess we can do it, but then he's like totally into it. He also cares about maintaining Nakahara's tax integrity, which is probably the sweetest thing he could do for anyone close to him.
Yeah, to help him out with that, since
yeah,
that way he doesn't get his like company drained.
Yeah, like he's not gonna bail him out on like a tax snafu, and he would absolutely suck Nakahara dry for every last cent if he found it necessary. But he also gives him advice on how to legally stay out of trouble and run an honest business. So
yeah, fucking get an accountant, dude.
Well, actually,
get a bunch of accountants.
Actually, he goes so far as to warn Nakahara of a potential bad egg in his company, which is their new accountant.
Yeah. I'm not saying like your accountant can't screw you over, but like
usually, yeah.
It's like if you're gonna do any business, any small business, grab an accountant. Don't try and do taxes on your own.
I would argue too, in this case, this is not really a small business; it's a subsidiary. And Nakahara did have an accountant at that time, but I believe the accountant was in on the situation, and I don't think Nakahara actually knew that he was avoiding taxes.
Yeah,
I think he'd been taught to do this. So this is what he means. Like, he's a little bit naive because he grew up, you know, with all this and whatever. So he doesn't see it as wrong, and that screws him over. So when he gets another accountant that also sucks, he then does something about it.
Yeah.
But this is another manga with a heavy emphasis on work and how it can play a major role in one's life. The main conflict in this otherwise chill story is about potential loss of work and how Suzuki and Nakahara navigate that while still wanting to maintain their relationship. The whole situation is handled mostly maturely and by utilizing the proper channels, which is nice, but the characters are not without their wild moments. Like, Nakahara absolutely pulls the whole, I'm gonna kick this door down and how dare you do this moment, but like once, and not in front of a bunch of people, like in a private space, to like put the fear of God in some people. But it's not the like, I'm gonna kick you down in the middle of Shibuya Station and let everybody know that you saw. It's not that dramatic, but it's still got a little bit of that like cool, like, ooh, a grown man and in charge of his shit kind of flair.
Yeah.
They have a more reserved sort of wild and out, but considering how important it is for each of them to adhere to the politeness of Japanese society, it still feels brave and endearing what they're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, too, there is a definite shift in Michiru Sensei's art. It's still sketchy and has a distinct spindliness to it, but it's a lot more solid and confident. She also has a better mastery of drawing sex scenes, which is made obvious by her inclusion of one in every single chapter.
Mm-hmm.
So before this, there was just a little bit, it was more like...
Yeah, her, like, you did show me a sex scene, and I was like, oh, that's a very dynamic pose.
Yeah.
But that's why I was also just like, that's a lot. Because it was just like, I'm not saying it was like, woo, look at this hentai level art, but like, as someone who would be like drawing a comic, reading a comic, I'm like, one, you're going hard, and it's like, it's a complicated enough pose that it's like, I don't think a normal mangaka would have chosen it. Because you can do another sexy pose with easier references to find than the one she chose.
No, she's going for it in this one a lot.
So
she's trying different
stuff. Good for her for really pushing and trying new stuff. This is why, again, I'm saying her art's in the ugly duckling stage at this point. You're trying new things. It's a little crazy, a little wild. It's not bad. It's just not going to appeal to some people. But, like, for me, who is, like, I'm always critically thinking, like, oh, do I want to stay with this artist and see what they're going to look like after the stage? Like, for me, I'd still keep reading.
Yeah.
But I would be, like, straight up, oh, this is ugly, but I'm going to keep reading.
She also continues her love of middle-aged salarymen with these two.
Yeah, she definitely brought that back again.
Yeah, taking special care to show the distinct charms of older folks who've shed...
And civil servants. She really likes those, too, it seems.
Yeah, like, that's one of her specialties is civil servants as well. You're absolutely right.
Probably got that from Tiger and Bunny.
Oh, yeah. That lines up a lot. You can tell what she's into, yeah. But... I like that she's, displaying older folks who generally shed the constant embarrassment of being a young person, because I could not, in my good conscience as a 20-year-old, give somebody a cutesy nickname without wanting to run into the woods.
Kiki.
But who the hell else is going to lovingly call their hardworking civil service lover Kiki, but a well-meaning, slightly goofy CEO? Like, you've got to be of a certain age to get back to that, like, this is fine kind of face.
If you can't tell, me and my wife do not give each other cutesy nicknames unless we're fucking with each other.
I'd have to come up with a new one. You've just awakened.
Now you want to do one to piss me off. That's how we started to unironically call each other babe, so be careful. Oh, real quick, a whole rating for this one. This is another strong one. Probably 9 out of 10. I'm a little less interested. I have no reason why. Maybe it's the ugliness that is, like, made me, like, Like, and again, this is my personal opinion on it being a little ugly. But, like, I don't know. 9 out of 10. Also, like, I had a strong aversion to Tax Auditor. I was like, ugh. I know they're going after the rich in this, but I was still like, ugh.
Fave scenes for this one have to definitely be Nakahara washing Suzuki's hair. Like, they go to a hotel, and he's like, hey, I'll do whatever you want, or whatever. And Suzuki's like, well, wash my hair. He's like, okay, well. So he, like, lovingly washes his hair, and then he gets handsy. And, like, he also, like, brushed his teeth. Like, doing all these, like, extra, like, I have to really care for you kind of stuff.
Wait, he brushed Kiki's teeth?
Yeah.
Gross.
Hey, it's fine.
No. Nope. 7 out of 10 hole.
You're such
That's
a child.
disgusting.
It's whatever.
Nope. It's like the cream trope. Stop touching mouths. Kiss. Don't do the clean work. I don't know. I'm having a moment.
One day I'm gonna have to brush your teeth, and that's fine.
Don't fucking brush my teeth. That's gross. Let me die.
Nope. I love that Suzuki gets bashful when he gets exactly what he wanted for Christmas, because he asked his boyfriend and all of his friends, give me money, because that's what I want for Christmas. Give me money, because then I don't have to report it as a gift of above a certain amount, and I don't have to report on my taxes, and then I can just use the money to pay my taxes or whatever.
Why would he count gifts as a...
Be it a luxury gift in Japan, I guess you have to pay luxury tax on it. So we live in America where you can give somebody, like, a lot of stupid shit and you don't have to, like, report that you did it.
I do know that in the business world, if the business world gives you a gift, like, if a if a business if a business company is like, yeah, we're working together and I give you a car, you do have to worry about the taxes on it.
But this is
but
down
I couldn't
to, like,
imagine, like, let's say you had a rich parent and they gave you a car and you
right.
had to do,
Right, so
I don't know.
Yeah, so this is, the tax laws are different in Japan, so that's why he wants money, and then Nakahara actually gives him money, like, lovingly wrapped for Christmas, and Suzuki gets all flustered about it.
All right, 7.5 out of 10. I'm learning stuff again. You got me with education, so.
Yeah, and then, like, Suzuki makes a lot of little passionate faces, like, as much as he's pretending to be resistant, he very much is very into it. You can tell, like, you can kind of get an idea of, like, why Nakahara finds him so lovable, and I love when a comic's able to kind of, like, get that point across.
And you said this comic was about a fresh start to the relationship, so
yeah.
I assume they hit a rough patch and then are like, let's do better.
They hit a rough patch. It's not really about them, it's more of an external thing, but then they do kind of tighten things up, and then they have, like, a nice new beginning into going further.
Yeah, that's nice.
And so it's nice. It's still very chill. There's not any, like, huge thing that's happening, but almost maybe losing your job is always, like, a kind of a big deal.
Yeah, it's rough.
Okay, so we're finally on to our last one, which is I'm Doomed If It Can't Be You, which is Michiru Sensei's manga from 2020.
Oh, yeah. Show me the art. I'm excited.
Yeah. This one is about two childhood friends forming a relationship. It's about the most simple way I can describe it. So this is the cover for it.
Much better.
And then another colored scene of the two of them. This one is Yakumo, and this one is Isajima.
Okay. I want to cast judgment again just because I'm that weirdo. Oh. No, they toned it up. Yes. Okay. Yep, they have gotten out of their ugly duckling stage. Again, they're playing with dynamic poses, but now it's more controlled. It's a lot better. They have really nice details and really good negative space now. Oh my gosh.
She's figured out exactly what she wants to do, I think, by 2020.
Yes. Yeah. So, like, yeah. So I would say we had a phase that started off that I was like, ooh, interesting. Then we went into, oh, this is the ugly duckling phase. And where she's at now, yes, it's great. I will say, like, if you're weird about big noses, she has big noses, but they're cute.
I love it when mangakas actually add big noses. I find it extremely charming.
I like it when someone has, like, a style of something, like, that they do that is interesting. Like, I don't know. But this is really great. Negative space is great. The details are great. The dynamic poses this time didn't feel like they were directly looking at a reference book / doing too many. This is like, oh no, you definitely have practiced so much. You know how to make it move the comic along naturally. It looked really good.
It's better composition is what it is, for sure.
Very good. Yeah, that was sexy. Great improvement.
So on this one too, we have a few more characters, because usually we really just focus on the two main characters in these works, because she knows what she's about, and I get it. But in this case, we have multiple characters that are actually named. So the first one is Ono Yakumo. He's hot, very single, and the owner of a popular bar with unreasonably good food offerings. He's friendly with pretty much everyone and is generally easygoing, so he has the perfect personality for his line of work. He comes off as very reliable and feels responsible for the well-being of his two oldest friends, Isajima and Iku. Isajima Hiroki is probably honestly autistic. Like, you can't diagnose somebody, but he is almost too literal and seems a bit disconnected from his feelings, but he's still a reliable friend. And there's some stuff that happens in the comic that very much gives you the feeling that he's a little bit on the spectrum, because he just consistently makes choices that logically make sense, but socially are bonkers as fuck. He's good at work, seemingly by sheer force of will, and isn't easily bowled over by bad news, bad behavior, or bad anything, really. So he just seems very steadfast.
Yeah, he's steadfast. He pushes through.
Yes.
Okay.
And then we have Maeda Iku, who is Isajima and Yakumo's other friend. He is a certified, reformed, bad person, though we don't know many details outside of being like a fuckboy in his past, so like dating a lot of women, being like, hey, you're rich, can you take care of me kind of thing. His story isn't a huge focus, but it harmonizes nicely with the main plot and makes the theming even tighter, because he's got his own little like side love story that becomes important. It kind of works as a catalyst on accident to what's going on with Isajima and Yakumo. So this story continues the slice of life vibe, though this one is significantly more linear. We actually have like a beginning, middle, and end kind of thing, but we're still getting little like tidbits from daily life to move it along.
And it's bar setting instead of office setting.
We do bar, we do the office. We spend a lot of time at Isajima's home as well.
Okay.
When I start talking to you about what's going on, then you'll understand.
Yeah.
We kick things off with Isajima bursting into Yakumo's bar and straight into a deep bow. This is the like futsure, so not the like super formal one, not the one where you're like completely down with your forehead touching the ground, but it's that frog bow. So really formal, but you're not meeting the emperor is what it is.
Okay.
So Isajima requests that Yakumo please date him with the intention of marriage.
And these are friends, right?
Yeah, they've been friends since they were in high school. And they're now past college, young professionals, so like late 20s, early 30s.
Dude.
Yeah.
That would be weird to get if you hadn't had any hints that someone liked you or something.
Oh, yeah, wait. You know, this is a super normal thing to ask one of your only friends.
Only friend.
But especially out of the blue on a weekday evening.
At his work? At his place of business?
Isajima comes to Yakumo's bar and is like, hey, will
in front of people?
At this point, it's just opening up for the evening, so it's
so it's not like a huge crowd.
Yeah, but like their other friend Iku is there. So in front of Iku as well. Wow. God, Jesus, and Iku. Yeah.
That's so funny.
So eventually, Yakumo and Iku get Isajima seated at the bar, and then they get the full story. Because Isajima was set to be married within the next few months. But his fiancé recently dumped him and moved out. Was it cheating? Fuck no. Who has the time? Rather, Isajima was randomly moved to the accounting department months ago at his job, and then he discovered that numbers are absolute and the pathway to leading a good life and being a good husband. So he got obsessed with crunching numbers.
Okay.
Which is, I feel like, his autism point number 2. But, so he asked his fiancée for all of her receipts so they could properly account for all their spending.
And it freaked her out?
Yeah, so he thinks he's going to be a better provider by knowing exactly how much they spend.
I'd be freaked out
and taking care of her.
No, this is a communication issue.
Yeah. So like
you just got to ask.
Yeah, cuz I get where he's coming from. He's trying to be responsible for her.
Yeah.
And responsible for their relationship, but it came out of left field and he didn't really explain himself well.
We have had these issues where you have done that and I've been like, am I in trouble? Because you were very serious sometimes when you figure out a way to make things easier for me, because like you do that a lot. You often like are like, I'm gonna logically make things easier for me, but like you're so serious that it comes out as stern, and so like,
and this is what I'm believing that he was having issues with as well. So I understand where he's coming from.
Yeah,
I get it, but my dude, yeah.
So it freaked her out, and they didn't communicate properly, because like. But, like, to be fair, like, I get it. I don't necessarily think they should have broken up. It's just a communication issue. You just gotta, you gotta figure it out.
So, I will say also, he didn't love her. Either. So, we'll get to why he didn't love her in a second.
Was it an arranged marriage thing?
No. I will explain to you why in a second. So, now he's dumped. Specifically, like, he's given a letter that says marrying you would be absurd. That's how he's broken up with.
That's rude, but I do feel like
I get where she's coming from.
I already feel, again, I'm not trying to out you. We've had this where it came off as really intense, and I was like, please explain to me what your thought about this is so I can understand.
Yeah. But so he's now dumped by his fiance after having been dumped God knows how many times in his almost 30 years of life. And he's now realized that Yakumo is the only one who will accept him. Yakumo is his last chance at Social Security. Or marriage. Or also Social Security, because he believes in his weird brain that marriage isn't about love and affection. Marriage is about Social Security, because he's worried what will happen if I die in my apartment and no one's there to check on me,
Okay.
they're gonna find my body days later half rotted.
I'm trying to understand what he's worried about. So
he's
so like, hush. Let me walk through this. So he's. I have to work on this puzzle a little bit myself. Okay, so he's worried like about the social value, like how people are like, oh shit, I need to get married at 25 or something, right?
No, he's worried about dying alone.
Okay, he's worried about dying alone.
And
then like basically when he's dead, he's worried about a bunch of shit won't get done because he's dead.
He's worried that his body will not be discovered because he's not married. So it is the most like, well, yeah, you get a partner so that you're not alone and so that you won't be rotting in your house for days after you die.
You're dead. Who cares?
This is how he explains it to Yakumo and Iku.
You're dead, dude.
He tells his friends this exactly.
It's gonna be it's not your problem anymore. It's gonna be the tenant below you problem who will smell your stinking decay and ass. Why are you worried about it? When I die, I hope it's the most inconvenient thing possible. Holy shit. I hope it's a huge inconvenience. I hope, like, there's a mistake with my coffin and my body pops up like a haunted Halloween mechanic thing. I'm dead.
Put it in your will and I'll do it.
God. I don't know. Remember me affectionately, but also remember me as I was, which is annoying.
So, Iku thinks he's crazy. Now, this is too out of left field, even for Isajima. But also, that marriage is totally about love. And the only reason two people should be joined for life like that. He says all of this while showing off a ring on his left hand.
I disagree. Like, and now I'm gonna... I disagree. Marriage is about what you make of it. It can be about love, but it can just also be about security. So, like, shit. Yeah. Especially in this day and age with, money not being great, I understand why some people might be like, well, let's just get married, put our finances together.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people who are like, they get married and then they still date other people because divorce is expensive and it's like, Who cares? But like, you get that like connection and fuck.
Okay, so Iku of course shows off like his ring and is like, oh, marriage is all about love, coming from the ex-fuckboy, of course.
Yeah. That's cute that ex-fuckboy is now a married man.
Well, something like that, but yes.
Or like, a partner, whatever.
Yeah, because they give couples rings out a lot in parts of Asia, which is pretty sweet.
Instead of like the marriage thing, they do we're just dating and here's a ring.
Mm-hmm. The other two ignore him for the most part. And Yakumo continues to hear his desperate friend out. They've known each other for a long time, and Yakumo has always put up with the eternally friendless and awkward Isajima. So without Yakumo, there's no hope of him not dying alone and rotting for days until discovery. It's Yakumo or it's no one. Which is what the title is about, is without you, I'm doomed. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's silly and cute, I get it.
So, Yakumo says yes. As long as we date first. Just the biggest fuck it we ball energy for something potentially life-changing.
Alright.
Isajima thanks him excitedly and then hands him the key to his home, asking for him to swing by that evening after work. Because Isajima left his office job to come propose to his closest friend and has to go back and finish up for the day. Iku asks if Yakumo understands what Isajima is asking for, like, not just in the long term, but for that evening. Because he's basically being expected to kind of close up shop and then immediately go stay at Isajima's place to, like, have their first date kind of experience or whatever. Or, like, just wait for, him to come home.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Yeah, but the bar doesn't close until, like, midnight at the earliest. Yakumo's just like, well, we can just close up early once the current customers have left.
Oh my god.
Iku actually feels his sanity slipping.
I agree, Iku. This is a situation.
Mm-hmm.
What a situation.
Mm-hmm. Later in the evening, Yakumo does indeed wait for Isajima to return home, coming across the letter that the ex-fiancé left, because he hadn't even cleaned it up yet. So he gets to read the, like, marrying you would be absurd.
Marrying you would be bad.
Uh-huh. Isajima comes home shortly after, and they sit down to eat a Yakumo-prepared dinner together, and further hash out some details, like how to refer to each other, and whether Yakumo's staying for the night. So, like, Yakumo ends up calling him Hiro-kun after this, instead of, by last names. Like, they've all been on last name basis, but now he's like, well, Hiro-kun, because,
now
we're dating. Or whatever. Right.
Yeah.
And, of course, Yakumo's staying since they're, like, dating and shit, and that is the expectation. So they both wash up, which bears a certain connotation if you know about Japanese relationships.
Yeah.
Because washing up is considered to be like, oh, go get fresh so that we can, get to Pound Town. So Isajima is seated on the bed when Yakumo exits the bathroom, and no joke, presents his body to him. Like, just spreads eagle, like, I don't know how to have sex with a man. I've never been with a man before. I never even thought about it, and I'm not even sure if I can get aroused, but I'm ready nevertheless, and I leave everything in your hands.
God.
You're very capable. I trust you. We'll do it. Because in Isajima's brain, sex is important, and not having it is one of the number one relationship enders, or so he's read. Which, like, this does come up, but at this point you start realizing, do you know everything you know about relationships from reading a magazine? Yes.
Yeah. Yes. This is so wild.
He's read studies, and that's it.
This is so wild and really fun to hear about, because, like, as much as I'm shocked right now, I've heard of people like this.
Uh-huh.
Like, no joke, I feel, like, a little silly, because, like, one of the reasons we started dating was because I angrily proposed to you because I was tired of people treating us like a couple.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and looking back on that, I'm like, God.
What an escalation.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Instead of dating first, like, let's just get fucking married if people are gonna treat us like a couple.
Uh-huh, yep. So this is not that out of the ballpark of things that are possible.
It's not, like, it's just also really funny. Holy moly.
Yeah, so the next morning, Isajima is in an excellent mood.
Did they sleep together? Like, fuck?
We'll get to that. He slept super well and very comfortably. He's not alone in his house, and he's got a gorgeous breakfast waiting for him, prepared by one of his most favorite people. And the butt stuff didn't hurt at all.
They actually did it.
So, I will say...
You have to spoil
Isajima thinks they went all the way the night before. They did not. He got fingered. But he was like, I never enjoy sex, and that felt great.
Why did you finger this man's butthole? He's crazy.
Well, Yakumo's like, well, you gotta at least try. Like, if we're gonna see if we're gonna get married, might as well try.
Which one is the one who's the bar owner?
Yakumo.
Yakumo, why did you finger him? What? Why?
That's all I knew how to do, for sure.
No, you sleep in bed together. You just started your relationship. Did you even know if you were gay? Were you gay when he asked you out? And now you've gone straight into fingering his hole? This is crazy.
These people are idiots.
This is 0 to 60.
I love them, but they're idiots. So, Yakumo sees Isajima off in the traditional manner, as a good future wife should, which is Isajima over the moon. He's so excited to actually be getting the full, like, marriage experience, even a little bit.
Is he also going to expect, like, their receipt tags and, like, expenditures or whatever?
In this case, no. He has given up on that because he realized it didn't work.
Okay. Well, because, like, I actually don't think it'd be a bad idea. Because I have a feeling he'd talk it out better with his friend than he did with his
Probably.
ex. He
does seem to have shit better together with his friends, for sure.
Yeah.
But he does want Yakumo to move in immediately, which is way too fast, even for old friends.
It's a U-Haul lesbian moment.
But his excitement has no limits. On the way out, he catches a whiff of Yakumo's scent and incorrectly refers to it as fabric softener. Once corrected, he compliments it and calls it dashing before he himself dashes off to work.
Is it a cologne?
It's just what Yakumo smells like. But Isajima's never been close enough to, like, think about it or never been in the position to think about it.
This man fingered your butthole.
Yeah. So poor Yakumo is left with a crazy thought that Isajima may actually be charming and that he's definitely got to get more than a finger in next time if Hiro-kun's gonna be like that all the time.
Yeah. Okay, shut up. Don't talk no more. I see you opening your mouth. I need to digest this one. I love this story already. Like, I truly love this story already. This is slice of life with with a bit of crazy to it. Love it.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
My brain.
So, Do we know if Yakumo's gay at this point? I don't know, but he straight up thought, I gotta fuck him as soon as possible. Yeah.
Okay.
It's gonna be that cute. He's gotta get plowed.
Alright.
So yeah, this is the kickoff for their awkward little relationship, which involves a lot of silly little ups and downs, and a lot of, like, weirdness between the two of them. Like, Isajima has been using a bot for years to text his significant others to keep up engagement, which is absolutely bonkers. So he has on a timer like, how are you doing, honey? How's your day? And it's set to, like, go off at certain times every day. That's how he's been communicating with his girlfriends.
No, he's definitely got a bit of autistic vibes.
Yeah, he just thinks it's like, oh, you do it a certain way and then you're done. And he has tons of little other idiosyncrasies that are based off of researching how to be a good person or a good boyfriend, and not at all on what he actually wants. Mm-hmm. And Yakumo, endlessly patient, slowly but surely corrects him on everything. What makes their relationship interesting is that while Yakumo seems to have his shit together, he's carrying with him an insecurity bigger than probably both of his friends. And while Isajima's issues may be more obvious, he's incredibly resilient and seemingly doesn't care about the way that he's treated at times, or really for the entirety of this comic.
Nice.
The only person who he really cares about, like,
their opinion is Yakumo.
Yakumo and Iku. And even with Iku, like, Iku says something to him at one point that like, Iku himself was like, that's too far. And Isajima was like, well, no, you're not necessarily wrong, so I don't mind. And it's like, oh, wow, okay. Dang.
Are they becoming better friends, too?
They also become better friends because it's not that they're bad friends, but I think Iku has less patience for Isajima's behavior. But he's learning...
they probably weren't, like, true friends, because, like, the whole point is, like, he has no one but Yakumo.
Well, he also... So, Yakumo was his first choice, but he's like, well, if Yakumo didn't work, then I probably would have chosen you, Iku, because you're my only other friend. And so... Dumb.
But Iku's got someone.
Yeah, well, they don't believe it. That's the side plot. That's so funny. They're like, he's single.
So they don't believe he's with
They don't believe it at all, yeah.
That's funny.
So... One of the main things that they learn about each other is how their continued mutual friendship has helped support the strength and abilities they've both manifested over the years. So Isajima wouldn't be as confident and tenacious if it wasn't for Yakumo's continued care, and Yakumo would feel purposeless without Isajima. It's all very touching while wrapped up in some of the goofiest of situations.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, too, I'll go ahead and spoil this a little bit. Cause it's not, again, it doesn't make a huge impact, but, like, Iku is dating somebody. The oldest person in this comic is whoever Iku's dating. So even though these are the youngest characters that I've seen from Michiru Sensei so far, she still manages to slip in an older man. And he's one of those, like...
She knows what she wants.
Exactly. So who Iku's dating is, like, a older, willowy, like, kind of recluse of an old man. So, like, that kind of timelessly beautiful thing is, like, nice. Very long hair. And you know he's older, but he's not older in the sense where he's, like, grayed and wrinkled yet. Mm-hmm. But it's probably, like, late 40s, and you just some people look ethereal in their late 40s, and that's what this dude looks like.
I mean, like, fucking, like, Ryan Reynolds in his 40s, and, like, the guy who plays Wolverine, I still can't remember his name.
Yeah, Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman. My brain was like, Hugh Grant? I'm like, not Hugh Grant. Like, Hugh Jackman. Damn.
Some people get better in their 40s, and that's what this dude looks like.
I think a lot of men do, honestly.
Yeah.
There's something about you hitting, like, 40-something. But I also like older men, so I'm also a bad, like, example of this.
But yeah, so that's the other character is, like, just this willowy older man.
The older the better.
And we know that he's older because he published a book that the main characters read in grade school. And I was like, how much older are you? And Michiru Sensei's like, I'm not going to tell, but just know that he's older. I'm like, great.
Mm-hmm. Just figure it out.
But yeah, so these are the youngest characters that she has, excluding the one I talked about earlier, where, like, the college student is going to, like, fuck like a pensioner or whatever. That's a different thing. But even these characters are mature in their own right. They're earlier in their careers, but are otherwise well established and at a point where they're attempting to put down strong foundations for their future. So still a lot more mature and measured approach, even with, like, the wild premise.
Yeah, it's not like they're students. They have a job.
Yes, they have, like, because Yakumo was, like, given the bar from his mentor. And so he's running that for the long haul. Like, that's his job for... decades most likely.
It's like another part of the plot of this third one. The the main couple figuring out if they love each other.
Yes, that is the main plot. That everyone is actually figuring out, are we in love with each other? What does that mean? But also kind of filling in the gaps on some things that they hadn't really thought about. Like, you get to a certain age and you kind of have been running through, like, school and other school and trying to get a job, and you don't really stop to slow down and really do some self-introspection. And so that's kind of the main thing, is doing some self-introspection as well. So, themes. Our first story, Koh-Boku, obviously has a theme of devotion, carried almost entirely by Kashiwagi and his need to take care of an old man. For sex with a high-grade man, it's respect, because both Suzuki and Nakahara carry mutual respect for one another and their individual work, and carry that into their relationship outside of, their professional stuff. And for our last one, I'm Doomed If It Can't Be You, the main theme is definitely acceptance, from the way both Yakumo and Isajima accept each other in spite of their perceived or actual difficulties.
Yeah, I agree. They're all very nice sounding. Also, the last one I would go ahead and give 9 out of 10 whole. I'm very curious about it. It's silly. It's fun. It sounds sweet. It sounds good. No, I'm just going to bump it to 10. 10 out of 10. Like, that also sounds very interesting to me.
I'm going to send all of these to you so you can actually read them.
Yeah, I will actually. I actually know for sure I'll read the 2 that I gave the highest score ones. The one that's a little ugly, I might just skim. Like, again, it's just my artistic brain is like, oh, you are changing a little too much all at once.
It's also got the least, strong plot, but I will definitely go over with you.
Please send them to me.
But there are also some common themes that all 3 of these share. So, fidelity is a major plot point throughout for both work and relationships in each one of these. Because every story features at least one character that is not quite married to their job, but extremely passionate about the work that they're doing. And their jobs are important facets of their identity in a way that's entirely organic and healthy for them. So it's not like they got forced into these jobs and it's taking up their life. They enjoy their work. They really want to be there.
I do really like the workplace love balance. Like, that's cool. Like, the workplace and love balance. Like, we've had a multitude of jobs, and we've definitely been very passionate in our jobs, especially our last one. I would say we weren't in enough positions to where we got super passionate about them, and you have to balance that out. Like, you have to balance out your relationship while you're also passionately doing a project.
Yeah, and for these characters, losing their ability to work is a major threat in both their first and second story, and how the characters navigate it takes up the back half of each comic. Like, they're going to be different people if they're not at their jobs, is kind of how they're feeling about it.
Yeah.
I would say that introspection is another major player in all of these. Playing along with acceptance, you have a whole host of men who are extremely unconcerned about being gay. They do each take their time to think about it, either on page or off, but ultimately come to the conclusion of maybe or I don't care either way.
Yeah, I also feel like that makes sense for you as an older person. I'm sure there are plenty of older people who have that panic of, oh, no, I'm gay. But I also feel like if you've lived a life long enough and you're like, oh, you kind of like... Because, it took me a long time to accept that I was bisexual. But once I was older, it suddenly became much easier because, you're like, that doesn't change anything about you. Like, when you're younger, there's the panic. It's like, well, what does this mean? Who am I now? But, by the time I was older, I was like, it means nothing. It means I like women and men. Like, I'm the same person. Whatever.
Yeah, there's a big level of not give a fuck as you get older, and they all seem to kind of embody that.
Yeah.
Because honestly, who you are with matters so much less if you're, 40 years old, truthfully.
Live your life.
Yeah, and some of them realize that they've probably been gay the whole time, but it never designated time to think about it. They all just kind of got swept along by heteronormativity until they got punched in the face by the right person. Or metaphorically punched in the face.
Yeah.
With love and affection and horny. Right.
And eat my soup.
Yes, and eat my homemade soup that I make with my food processor that I bought entirely for you because you're the only person I make soup for.
That's ridiculous. I'm going to read these comics and enjoy them.
I know you and I have both lamented the straight semi top that falls in love with one dude, but ultimately refuses to ascribe to anything too gay. But these guys are not them. Everyone knows exactly what's going on. These supposedly straight dudes are offering up whole, and each couple ends up proudly announcing that their relationship to their peers or their family or their jobs. Mm-hmm. So they come out and say like, no, this is my boyfriend, or like we're together or whatever. Like one person like tells a doctor like, yeah, my boyfriend's coming, and other person's just like, well, this is my boyfriend, so I have to do whatever. Like they say with their whole chest.
I do love the more modern take of like yeah, maybe they were straight before, they identified as straight before, but then they're just like, they're unashamedly like, oh well, I'm gonna immerse myself in the gay community.
Yes,
it's very nice.
There's no shame here, and that makes these pseudo straight to gay stories so refreshing. It feels more like a self-discovery than a fluke. And considering their ages, I think these manga better align with the stories of late-in-life gay men, which feels less spoken about compared to their lesbian counterparts. Mm-hmm. So I feel like I hear about late-in-life lesbians, like there's a whole term for it, obviously, mm-hmm. but late-in-life gay men don't get talked about as much. And like we have at least one person in our life that I knew them younger, and then when I met them and started spending time with them again later, they had, come out as gay, and they're a little bit older than me. And it was like a big deal for them, and now they're full in and they're very excited about it and everything. Mm-hmm. But it's like that story is very personal to me at this point, but I feel like it doesn't get hyped up as much that, some men trip into being gay in their 30s, their 40s, or 50s.
Yeah, that's it's very interesting.
Yeah. There's a video that like fully encapsulates this vibe where it's like this, it's some like it was on TikTok, I think, originally, and it's some Japanese woman is interviewing people on the street, and she was interviewing this guy about homosexuality in Japan and like how he feels about it, and the guy starts saying that he supports the community, and then just casually drops in how he slept with a guy friend just to try it out, and was like, yeah, it turns out I'm not gay at all, but I had to know for sure, and I trust this person, and he's so casual about it. Mm-hmm. That's the vibe of these comics. It's like everybody's like, well,
We have heard, literally today, we heard someone talk about that vibe of being mm-hmm. like, yo, this is what it's like in this part of California. If you go to this part of California, it's pretty common for straight men to come into the scene, maybe take someone home and try it because they're in a safe place, and then decide if gay is for them. And, like, I love that we're hearing stories about that. Like, mm-hmm. we're also hearing, like, the bad, weird versions, like, the gay vacation.
The gaycation.
Where it's like, no, man, you just join in on an all-men orgy and you get swept away. And it's like, no. It's all about consent and making a choice. And, like, I don't know. I just think it's better to let people figure out their attraction, their identities. And I'm glad we're having stories that pop up of people, like, figuring it out. And, like, I don't mind stories that also go into the panic of, like, oh, my God, who am I?
I love a gay panic.
Right, but it's also great to have stories of people who they figured it out and it just clicks. Because that happens a lot. And it's like, and it's relieving when it happens to you. So it's great to see it put in a story because, like, they're expressing the relief that character feels really good.
Yeah, it's nice to just be chilling and be like, hey, if we gay, we gay. No big deal.
Yeah.
That's why I love being there.
Yeah, we're gay. Keep scrolling.
Yeah.
Yeah, that energy.
I also think Michiru Sensei's art style adds to the vibe too. It's loose and kind of meandering at times, but still full of detail and meaning. Like, you can really see how she hits her stride in 2020, like you were saying earlier.
It's so good. Like, again, her art was never bad. It's not bad. My artistic brain did not enjoy her work during 2016 because I was just like, it's not quite right. But her shit came together in 2020. Holy moly, what a nice style.
Yeah, she fully embraces her thin, delicate line work and the simplicity that comes with it.
I wish I could do thin, delicate line work. I cannot. I'm not a line work person. I paint in watercolor. I am a painter. I am not a comic artist. My God, it's so, like, the thin lines of comics.
But her style is definitely unique and somehow seamlessly incorporates angular and rounded shapes both really well. But also when she's drawing background characters or pulling silly moments, her art reminds me so much of that, like, House of Decline Hannibal comic. The one about Vegeta.
What?
Yeah, okay. I thought you'd maybe seen this, but so she'll draw silly figures, like, where not, she doesn't really draw chibi, she draws them looking kind of like
silly,
goofy and silly. And it straight up reminds me of this, like, Hannibal comic that I think about probably once a week. It reminds me of this.
Jesus Christ. Ew.
Like, for some reason, it reminds me of that when she draws her
They
silly
all
cups.
look like weird, sexy Squidward without the nose.
Yeah. Her chibi, or, like, silly drawings kind of remind me of that.
Was that mean to react that way?
No, it's fine. I'll let you read the comic later because it's really fucking
to.
stupid.
I don't want
It's about Vegeta. You'll love it.
No, I'm scared, Mom.
But that's what her style kind of reminds me
like
of.
hot dogs with lips.
A little bit.
And like really defined cheekbones.
You're literally just describing accurately what that looks like. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't like that.
But yeah, her like silly style reminds me of that a little bit. And so as I was reading it, I kept thinking like, but he was a prince over and over. Whatever.
I haven't seen modern Hannibal either, but I do enjoy the fan art of it.
Yeah. This one was meant to be super silly, but...
God. Well, you know what? I did enjoy the fan art of it. Now I'm scared. God. Ew.
Of course, full respect to Michiru Sensei for being down bad for grown men.
Yes.
Boy Love manga has been teen and young adult focused for a really long time, and she is helping herald the age of old man yaoi. Sure, we also want to see old men bone, but there's also like a certain sweetness to the relationships that contain older men. They're less inhibited by embarrassment, but should also be further tied up in social obligations, so it's refreshing to see them really like wiggle out from under the confines of being responsible Japanese citizens, and doing it with pride.
Yeah.
She also likes service tops, which is another correct opinion that she has. She's just a fucking visionary. God bless her. But all in all, these are 3 fantastic comics by an amazing author that you should definitely give a read. My summarizing really doesn't do these justice, and there's a lot of visual richness that I can't fully explain, so please read them. They are so good. They're emotional in a way that really speaks to the quiet parts of your soul. The stakes aren't objectively high, like no one's gonna die, there's no weird exes, there's no yakuza, but that doesn't make them any less important or impactful. Michiru Sensei teaches us that love isn't just the big stuff, it's stuffed into the crevices of our lives.
Damn, are you a writer? Wow. That was good. I'm captivated. And I agree with your assessment of, just from what you've shown me and what you've told me about, I agree with your assessment. Like, I'm really into this. Yeah.
So if you want a chill, heartwarming, and silly time, check out Michiru Sonoo's works. Koh-Boku contains uncomfortable family dynamics and health-related issues and hospitalizations. Sex with a High-Grade Man contains a wee bit of non-sexual blackmail, one slap, and casual exhibitionism. I'm Doomed If It Can't Be You contains workplace bullying and a few instances of big sads. But otherwise, these are, I think, like the most trigger-free stories that I have read in the entirety of Whole Chat at this point.
Yeah, I needed this.
No one nearly dies.
This was a nice vacation.
It's super good.
I really perked up. This is what I need. This is what I like. I read too much hardcore. I burned my brain. I burned my feelies off. I don't want to feel those pains anymore. I want this.
Yeah.
Soothe my burnt nerves.
Yeah. Well, this is for you, I guess.
Yeah,
I had a great time also.
I'm going to read them.
You can read Koh-Boku and Sex with a High-Grade Man on Manga Planet. I'm Doomed can be found various places if you search for it, and it's fully scanlated by Naonoholics. I would love for them to actually release this one officially because it's very good, and I want to hold a full copy in my hand, but, it is what it is. If you'd like to see more from Michiru Sonoo, you can find her at Araigumasha on Twitter. Let's spell it.
Yeah, holy shit.
ARAIGUMASHA on Twitter. Or you can visit her website at jikachoku.com. I'll spell it as well. JIKACHOKU.com. And then, of course, be sure to check out her other translated works on Manga Planet. I think there's 4 or 5 on there, and I am hoping that they're going to do more. I think they will, because they're very popular, but we'll hope and pray about it.
Yeah.
Yell at your local publisher to bring over more Michiru Sonoo. Tell them that you want more old man yaoi.
Yeah.
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 If you want more Whole, you can check us out on Bluesky and on Tumblr at Whole-Chat. or you can email our asses at whole.chat.69@gmail.com. Be sure to give us a follow on Spotify or on our YouTube channel so you don't miss an upload. And like an old man, I am also tired and I want to lay down. So that's all we got. Keep it tight.
Worry about your anal elasticity in your elder years. Keep it tight.
Babe.